Dr. Shelley Nash is a personal style coach. She helps women boost their confidence and elevate their style to achieve the success they desire. And she guides them through her groundbreaking programs. And this ultimately enables them to break free from their past limiting beliefs and self-criticism so they can take back their power and stand center stage in their lives. You'll want to stick around for today's episode because I'm having a conversation with Dr. Shelley Nash.
The following was recorded in front of a live studio audience at the Studio 21 Podcast Cafe. This is the United Podcast Network.
Welcome to Rat Race Reboot. I'm your host, Laura Noel. And as a certified coach and former 27-year military leader, each week I provide bite-sized mindset pivots that will help you reset your mind, reawaken your spirit, and regain your control. Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Rat Race Reboot. I am so excited today to talk with Dr. Shelley Nash. I've known her for a long time, so I have some background and intel on her journey, and I think it's fascinating. And I think that you'll really be inspired by hearing her story and what she's up to now. So welcome to the show, Shelley.
Thank you so much, Laura. It's so good to see you. I haven't seen you for a long time.
I know it. I know. I'm so excited to reconnect in this way.
Yes.
So I wanted to kind of give people the background of how you arrived at what you're doing today in helping women, because I know your background is totally different from the past, and there's elements of it that you're bringing forward into the now and into the future. But how did you come to this place where you're helping women in this way?
You know, I have such an eclectic background that you would never think it all fits together, but it's amazing how it does come full circle. So I could say, you know, I'm a personal style coach right now, but it goes way back to when I was 5 years old. My mom and her twin sister were sitting having coffee, and they said it got really quiet. And so they went to find me, and I was in my closet, and I pulled all the clothes off the hangers, and I was trying on the dresses and everything. And I just loved the chiffons and the bows, and I just loved clothes from way back then. And then my mom was a seamstress, and she began to sew and taught me to sew, and was looking at patterns and creating my own designs back then. And then when I went to college, my first degree was in textiles, clothing, and fashion. So wow. I worked in that. I don't think you even knew this.
I didn't.
I worked in that industry for about 5 years, and then I got hooked by holistic health and went on a spiritual journey and wanted to become a massage therapist. And so ended up doing that for many years. And then I worked in mind, body, and emotions because I kept trying to figure out my own emotions and myself and what was going on with me. So during that process, I met a lot of chiropractors, and I really loved the chiropractic philosophy. So then I decided to become a chiropractor and worked in that profession for over 20 years. And as I was looking at, you know, some would say retirement or just the next level, I decided I wanted to be a coach. And that began my journey in women's empowerment coaching. Finally met Bob Proctor. And that's how I met you actually through some other personal development that we did, but then met Bob Proctor and decided to become a coach with his organization. So as I was doing all this coaching, then the fashion kept filtering back in. And as a chiropractor, I would work in fashion off and on because I just loved it so much. So I was styling women, and then I was a chiropractor, and I was styling women. I was a chiropractor, back and forth. But as I started helping women with how they felt about themselves and their confidence and their self-image, I realized that when I would style women, I was just working on the outside, and they would still have these critical thoughts about their body and about themselves. And it would only be a temporary result to style them only on the outside. And it was almost a disservice to them in just doing that. So I really, as I started working with the inner image of how we see ourselves, I realized that it fits together so well that we have to do both. Yeah. The inner journey as well as the outer journey, and that when we work on our inside, that's what helps us glow. That's what gives us this radiance, and the clothes are like the accessory to that.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. So that's kind of the short version of the long journey.
Oh my gosh, I love that. And you're so right. It's, I often hear the phrase, fake it till you make it. And I don't think that's accurate, because I think you have to shift who you are on the inside. I remember getting some help with my closet, and I'm like, oh my gosh, there's multiple personalities in there. Pick one, or maybe there's a part of me that I wanted to kind of elevate and bring out, and clothing helped do that. But when I worked with somebody that was styling people and was really embodying the mindset piece of that and helping me reel it in. That sounds like this is what you do. This is so important. Dial it in. Who do you want to be? Become that. And then how would she dress? How would she carry herself?
Yeah.
Then you're not faking it. You're being it. What's your thought on that?
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. I just did a webinar called Own Your Style. And I feel like that, not to have the style of anyone else, not to compare yourself with anyone else, that everyone has a unique style. But then when we own our style and we become that person that we're striving to be, maybe in our business or in our lives, then that's how we're going to get there, is by owning it from the inside out first, and then learning, because there is a process of learning how to dress the best, use the best colors and things like that. So I would really call myself I wouldn't call myself an image consultant per se, as in the traditional sense, because I do blend, both mindset and styling together. And as I've been doing it with clients over these last years, what I realized is that I did a lot of mindset training and personal growth myself, but I never really looked at what are the impacts or the impressions that were made on me early on that I kept holding about my style or my body. For example, I shouldn't show cleavage because that's too sexual, and I'm going to attract the wrong kind of man, or I have to be thin to be successful. And there's a whole story behind that. And a lot of women do have that because that's culturally, in our society. So when I was doing other kinds of mindset work around success, I never really got into the body part before, and how I thought about myself and self-love and all of that. And it's really got many, many layers to it.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, absolutely. As you were talking, I was thinking about times when I had a closet full of beautiful clothes, but then I felt like I didn't have anything to wear. But doing all of this personal development work and mindset work, as you know, which is so important that you're fusing these together, it's not that I didn't have things to wear. It's that I was disgusted with how I looked. And so I was looking for the clothes to make me feel good about myself, but having that realization that I didn't feel good about myself, and that stemmed from myself or my past or my upbringing. And so addressing those things, addressing that mindset piece, as well as the how do you want to present yourself, you'll feel like $1 million no matter what you're wearing, whether it's, some upscale Chanel tweed suit or you're wearing some jeans and a ratty t-shirt. It won't matter.
Yeah, exactly. I was talking to some clients, and I realized that, when I was helping people shop, the woman that came in all the time to get new things, it was because she kept trying to lift herself up. She didn't feel good about herself. Yeah. So shopping addiction is, is about not feeling good about yourself and who you are. So you can have less clothes, when you feel good about yourself and you love yourself and you learn how to mix and match everything in different ways and express yourself. I really love the fact too that, style is who you are, and it's your ability to express yourself. It's your opportunity to express yourself and what it is you do and who you are in your life. And as you're doing personal development, you're always going to new, deeper level of yourself, finding out new things of yourself. And like just this last year, I'm expressing myself differently than I was last year, with my hairstyle and with different clothes. And, because I realized that I wanted to be more funky, artsy, avant-garde. So that I'm trying to bring out that inner desire. I have to express that in the clothes that I wear on the outside. I love this quote by Rachel Zoe. It goes something like, style is about self-expression. And so when you walk out into the world, people should know you without you ever having to speak. They should know what you're about and what you do, and they should want to talk to you. So that's why I'm moving into owning your style to scale your business for 2023, and really developing this influential style that attracts your dream clients, because you can be in control of what people think of you, what people say about you from the inside out. People will automatically judge you, but you can be in control about what they're thinking and saying about you. So that's when you were first talking about, like, how do I walk, talk, act, and dress like the woman that I want to become? Then people will start seeing you as that, even though you might not necessarily feel it on the inside yet. You're going to get yourself there by doing that.
Yeah, I love that. And I love that you're tying it to not only how women feel on the inside, but what they're projecting that's emanating from within them, and then what they're attracting back. So being on this journey, I've noticed, and I'd love to hear your thoughts, is I could see my results and I knew that things were working and I was doing the work within myself when I started attracting different circumstances. And it wasn't that I was necessarily trying for those circumstances, but just different people were gravitating toward me, different opportunities, different, possibilities. And that all resulted from the shift that I was making and clients were making from the inside out. What's been your experience with that? Have you seen in yourself, or even some of your clients, some changes that they started noticing in their external circumstances as a result of the work that they were doing inside of themselves?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, clients change so much, on the inside when they go through my programs. And yet, they have that external image that they're preparing to, and so they're dressing differently, and people notice that, but they feel stronger, more confident, more bold. They're acting in different ways. They're attracting people and situations into their life in a different way. I find it's so natural to me now to be in flow with who I am and what I want, and having things just happen, like these little mini miracles happen every day. Yeah. You almost like forget that, oh my gosh, yeah, this is happening because I'm attracting it in. I'm magnetizing it to myself. I'm radiating in a certain way. I'm putting that energy out there, and it's coming back because I'm putting it out, and and it sounds kind of woo woo, but we forget that, we are in charge of that, and sometimes take it for granted. But if we sit down, to the smallest things, like, someone buying you a cup of coffee, or someone telling you, I had a client recently, which made me realize it's about our glow, how we're glowing, where I got on a call with her and she said, you just radiate, you glow. And I feel better just being on the call with you, and I want to work with you because I just feel so good when I'm around you. And I was like, that's exactly what I'm trying to teach women about, owning your style and being in this place where you're influential to other people and attracting those clients or those situations that you really want to have in your life, but you're in charge. It starts with you. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like I can recall a time in my life where I was looking outside of myself to elevate myself. And I was in that rat race, rat race reboot. That's why we're here. We're trying to help women not do that, and all of our listeners, in fact. But I was looking outside of myself for validation. I was looking outside of myself for fulfillment. I was looking outside of myself for the answers. But all of those things and who we want to become are inside of ourselves. And so it's working with a coach like you that helps women draw that out of themselves so that they can truly stand in their purpose, who they're meant to be. And that feeling, it just touches everything. It creates a ripple effect with the people and the circumstances and the projects that you're touching and working on.
Yes.
I remember when I started on this journey years ago, and I was brand new, so I hadn't done a lot yet of the inner work, but I knew enough to, I had a vision of myself as a woman in business, and I was in the military at the time, and I bought, and you don't have to go out and buy the most expensive thing, but I did buy a Dior bar jacket and suit, and I had it in my closet for probably, and it's timeless, probably 4 years before I actually felt like the person who would wear that jacket. And that I did a photo shoot and everything. I remember the day when, no, this is my normal everyday thing. And I felt like that person. So it was someone that I was aspiring to being. And there was power in that. And the opportunities that I attracted because of that inner work and the outer work that I did, it was incredible. It was almost like it was a mini miracle, but it's not. It's energy. It's, Einstein said energy, it's all there is to it. Match the frequency of the reality you want, and you can't help but get that reality. It can be no other way. This is not philosophy. This is physics. We're shifting our point of attraction.
Yeah, that's a great story. Yeah. When you can wear designer, you mentioned this earlier, you can wear designer clothes or not designer clothes,
right,
and you still can look fabulous when you're radiating that confidence from the inside out. The designer clothes definitely have a higher level energy, just because of the care and the detail that's put into them, into the creation of them and all of that. So it's definitely, potentially something to strive for. I remember also something that was really challenging for me with our social media age was the comparing myself to other people that were successful. And I think I might have mastered it now, but I don't do that anymore, but it's I think it's a problem for a lot of women. We look at other women and we maybe put ourselves down or think we'll never get there, or how did they do that, or why not me, or things like that. But the realization that you have your own unique gifts and talents and things that you are meant to do in the world. And that is one of the things that I talk about, is like tapping into your passion, who you really are. And sometimes when we're born, we're kind of covered up with a lot of gunk and conditioning that's not really about us or the truth of who we are. So part of like developing your style is uncovering your truest self and letting your passion flow. And I like to think of when your passion is flowing from its source, that is like a fountain of youth. When you have that energy and passion every single day, you're going to be youthful and you're going to go strong and get up every morning and ready to do what it is you're supposed to do. And that energy then is going to project out, through the clothes, that are congruent with who you are and also aligned with where you want to go. I get super pumped up and excited about talking about this blend of personal development and style, because I think it's just essential that every woman really understand it and be able to use this tool that we have, our bodies, and being able to dress our bodies, and express ourselves in this way that's going to be the most powerful and dynamic for not only ourselves and our own success, but the impact that we make with other women in the world. So
Yes, you are so right. And I'm curious because, yeah, also with the social media and what's posted out there and the temptation to compare ourselves to other people who are not us. It's not that they're better than us or worse than us. We are all spirit in a body, and that's perfection, right? And it's just about allowing that to emerge from within ourselves and outward. So what is something that you might direct people to do if they're finding themselves in that state of comparison? And I've fallen into that trap too. And sometimes I still do. I have to stop myself. So what do you tell people or potential clients or clients when they're in that headspace?
I think the best thing that I do is what's called mirror work, is to stand in front of the mirror and to speak words of appreciation and love about yourself, to yourself, about parts of your body that maybe you don't necessarily like so much, but what do you like about them, and really love on yourself and your uniqueness. And I also have a couple different YouTubes that I play that I love. And I stand in front of the mirror and I listen to those, and I look in my eyes and I really look at myself deeply, and just feel that love for myself, come back to my center, my core of who I am and what my mission is and what I'm doing. So when I get off track, I think self-love and appreciation is the best thing to do.
Yeah,
It's a constant work in progress.
Yeah, for all of us, because we're meant for growth and expansion. And as we grow, we encounter new mindset obstacles to overcome. We discover new things about ourselves. And I don't want people to take lightly what you're saying with doing the mirror work and really seeing yourself, the essence of who you are. It's the repetition of doing that. And it's how your brain is wired. Your mind doesn't know what's real or imagined. And if you're feeding your mind with the truth is that you're awesome and that you're beautiful and that you're special and there's unlimited potential inside of you, that's your truth. That's everyone's truth. Yeah. And if you constantly feed your mind that reality, it will stick. That's what you'll believe, and that's ultimately what you'll attract. So there's real power in doing that exercise. So for those of you listening, I want you to take that seriously. This is a golden nugget for sure. That mirror work is so powerful.
Yeah, it really is. And you were talking about source. I think it gets back to your source, like the eyes are the window to the soul. Yeah. And so when you look at yourself in your own eyes, you're seeing your spirit, and as a doctor, it's like the fact that we're even able to move our bodies is a miracle. Everything that's happening automatically, unconsciously in your body is a miracle. And we just take it for granted. So to really surround yourself in that love and almost remember the day you were born when your mom was saying to you, oh, you're such a miracle. You're such a beauty, and you're still that.
Yes. And I love that even if we have trouble, because sometimes when people, and when I first started with gratitude and practicing that and thinking of several things that I love about myself, if we have trouble doing that, at least we could start with the miracle of how our body and our minds operate. We could start there. That's all a part of us too. So that's a great point.
Yeah.
So how do you work with clients? How can they start with you, and how do they get in contact with you?
Well, they can get in contact with me through my website, which is drshelleynash.com. And you guys will have that in the show notes, yes. I believe. And then there's a contact page there. I work with women through a style program called Style Your Life, which is not just about your clothes, it's about your entire life. But we work through the process of developing a style roadmap for your success. We go through inner style transformation and then the outer style transformation. And that takes 4 months. And people are really having amazing growth through that program. So that's the main program I teach. I have other programs about mindset, and it all fits together because I do add a lot of mindset into the style program. So that's my main core, though, is working with women on their style right now.
Okay. And so it sounds like the first step then for our listeners would be to go to your website, which, yes, we will have the link in the show notes, and follow along, contact you through the website, and then get in conversation and look at some of these offerings that you have. And I think it's so important to look holistically at ourselves, inside and out. And I love that you're doing this work and helping people do some shadow work and shine the light on themselves so they can stand in their highest potential. I'm really grateful that you joined us today and that you shared the gifts that you're sharing with your clients and the world. And I encourage everyone to reach out to you, Shelley. Are there any last closing remarks or anything that you would like to leave our audience with on Rat Race Reboot?
We have covered so much. I feel like I've pretty much explained it pretty well, what I do. I guess the only thing is that I always do free programs, free webinars, free masterclass every month. The next one will be December 6th. And it's going to be that Own Your Style to Scale Your Business for 2023. And so I would love to have you join us for that. So reach out to me for the link to register for that. Also, in all social media, I'm pretty much Dr. Shelley Nash on all of my social media pages. So you can find me pretty easily, I think, if you give it a go. But I'm super excited to really help women make a bigger impact in their lives, in the world, by getting congruent with who they are and aligned with where they're going, and do that with style.
I love it. Thank you so much once again for being on the show. For our listeners out there, go to ratracereboot.com, whatever platform you listen to your podcast on or watch them on. Please leave a 5-star review or your comments. We'd love to hear from you. And also, in order to get an alignment and congruent with inspired action and not doing all of the actions, go to ratracereboot.com and subscribe. You'll get 3 free meditation MP3s. So definitely don't miss out on that. But until next week, remember, everything is created twice, first in your mind and then in physical form. We'll see you next week.
The views and opinions expressed by the hosts, guests, or callers of this program do not necessarily reflect the opinions of the Studio 21 Podcast Cafe, the United Podcast Network, its partners, or affiliates.